David Hertel in for Aaron and Natasha. Well, the city of Montreal is asking the Quebec government for help in tackling the housing and public transportation challenges in the upcoming provincial budget. The president of the executive committee of the city of Montreal, DOMINIQUE Olivier, says that cities and users alone cannot carry the burden of adequately funding public transit for today and tomorrow. And she joins us now. President Olivier, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much for inviting me, David.
So before I get into your requests to the Quebec government, I must take a few moments to, first of all, it's an honor to have you on the program, but also as the first woman of color to be president of Montreal's executive committee on a day like today, the International Women's Day. How do you feel today?
Oh, very good, obviously, but not only very good because I'm the first woman of color to occupy this position, but also because I'm not alone. I'm very fortunate to be in the first all-women's administration. The two first jobs at the City of Montreal, the mayor and the president of the executive committee, are both women. It's the first time in the history of Montreal. But also we have a majority of women also in our executive committee, which is also a first in Montreal. So that's I think it's a nice advancement for women's cause.
Absolutely. Moving on to money. And so the Quebec government will table its budget on March 21st. You're coming out today with your requests, your demands for added financing. So tell us more about that.
Yes, we had an exchange with Minister Girard, the mayor, and myself, with Minister Girard about a week ago, and what we told him is that we would only put forward two requests this year because for us is that there's a reality right now that we're facing, not only in Montreal but in all of the province of Quebec, is that there are huge needs right now on two major issues, which are affordable and social housing and the financing of public transportation. And for us, this is something that attacks the capacity of families to stay in Montreal. It affects also the most vulnerable to have a roof over their head. And we have to take into account the fact that we will probably not go back to exactly what we had in terms of public transportation prior to the pandemic. So yes, the pandemic has affected a lot the transportation, the public transportation systems, but there's also a new way of living that has developed since, where people do a lot of remote work. They don't get on the bus or in the metro every morning to go to work downtown or in employment zones. So it's never going to, and I don't think it's ever going to go back to what we knew before the pandemic.
Sure.
So we have to take that into account when we're talking about financing public transit right now.
So, my next question would be about the process here, because you know this, I know this. A budgetary process starts, in the fall, and there are discussions. So I'm sure the administration was having discussions with the finance ministry, with the government, even before your meeting with Minister Girard. And so I wonder, in terms of talking housing and transportation, what type of receptiveness have you received? Because when we look at it from a macro sense politically, it's not like the CAQ government has a lot of IOUs in Montreal, right? There are not a lot of seats from the CAQ in Montreal. So I'm trying to understand more what kind of reception you got from Minister Girard.
But I would say that he was very sensitive to the crisis. Like I told you, it's not only a crisis that affects Montreal, it affects all of Quebec. The question of how we're operating our, if you think about the suburbs, basically, the suburbs where there's a lot of CACs representatives that are elected are affected with those situations as well as we are. Part of the CMM is very affected with those situations as we are. Laval, Longueuil, they're all crying for more social housing, more affordable housing because it's a very acute situation. So we were pretty confident that Minister Girard heard what we were saying and was very sensitive to the crises that are currently taking place. And so I would say we are confident. And on top of that, you have to know that we are constantly in contact with the government's file holders. So it's not like a new discussion.
Right.
But what Minister Girard wants to do in his pre-budgetary consultation is to make sure that we pinpoint what are our priorities. And this year we're saying, although there's many needs, there are needs in terms of responding to the climate changes, there are needs in fiscality. But what we are saying is that if we can solve those two pressing issues, Montrealer will be a lot ahead.
Absolutely. So in terms, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
No,
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so in terms of transportation, you're asking for more money for public transit. Now, if you do get what you asked for from the Quebec government in this next budget, does this mean that, for example, the $78 million projected deficit from the STM will go away? Does this mean that the cuts in the STM services will go away? Is that something we can hope for if you get what you want from the government?
That is exactly what we are asking for. We hope that the government is going to invest now to fill the structural deficit of Quebec's transportation company, and we are making a request so that they assume their part into the deficit that we have seen in our public transit operation. Because one of the things that is very important for us is that we cannot keep cutting into the services. At some point you start cutting into the services and it's not attractive for people to take the bus or the metro anymore. And that we have to be very aware of. So there's like a very small margin where our services can be cut. And if you take into account the fact that transportation is 30% of our GES emission, GES, you say that in English?
It's GH. Greenhouse gas, GHG.
Yeah, GHG.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's okay.
It's important. Sometimes I remember that I'm a francophone.
Yeah, sometimes I have my French brain on. Sometimes I have my English brain on. It's hard sometimes.
Same here. So if we think that it's 30% of those emissions, so for sure we have to do something. Whenever we can put forward public transit, we are getting closer to our goals, basically.
Absolutely. That's all the time I have. It was a great pleasure to have you on, President Olivier. Good luck. We'll be listening very closely on the 21st. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Dominique Olivier is president of the Executive Committee of the City of Montreal.